Here's another story about some animals that live under the water. What kind of animal do you see on the cover of the book? I see a big one and a little one. I see some sharks. The title of the book is Clark the Shark Dares to Share. Oh, look at that. There's a pufferfish playing a trumpet. Show and share. Clark the shark loved school. He loved his teacher and he loved learning. But sometimes Clark got a little mixed up. One marvelous morning, Mrs. Inkydink told Clark's class, "Time for show and share." That's where you bring something into school from home, something you really like or something that means a lot to you, and you tell everybody about it. You say, like the pufferfish might say, "Oh, this is my trumpet from home, and I take lessons, and my dad plays the trumpet too." You get to talk about your thing to your whole class. Benny Blowfish went first. He played a song so sweet and sassy that Clark couldn't help but dance his funky shark dance, with a hip and a hop and a skiddly widdly wop. "Sit down, please," said Mrs. Inkydink. "But I was sharing too," said Clark. "Sharing is caring," said Mrs. Inkydink, "and everyone must learn to wait their turn." "I get it," said Clark, but he didn't really. One of the ways that you can share is by sharing your time. And if someone else is talking or someone else is showing you something that's important to them, you sit and you listen very nicely and patiently. And then when it's your turn, then you can talk and dance and make all the noise you want when it's your turn. At Reading Roundup, Amanda Eelwiggle won a scrumptious prize for reading the most books. "Sea slug ice cream?" asked Clark. "Yum, yum, I want some." "That's up to Amanda," said Mrs. Inkydink. "But sharing is caring," cried Clark. Mrs. Inkydink nodded. "Yes, I'm aware. But the giver chooses when to share." "Sharing is confusing," said Clark. Now this is another example of a time where people can share. This is Amanda, and this is her ice cream. She won it as a prize because she read so many books. She doesn't have to give any of her ice cream away. It's meant to be all for her. So she has to decide if she would like to share some with Clark. But if the answer is no, I want all the ice cream for myself, that's an answer. And Clark needs to be okay with that answer. It's not his ice cream, it's her ice cream. In reef hockey, Clark chose to share his spectacular skills. "Hockey is awesome!" he roared. Clark front faked and back faked. He stick checked and decked. In the end, Clark did everything but pass the puck. His teammates were cranky. "Hey, hotshot, let someone else score, why don't you?" said his best friend, Joey Mackerel. "But we all shared the win," said Clark. Coach Krabby scowled. "A win's not okay unless we all get to play." "Sharing is complicated," said Clark. When you play on a team for a sport, like they're playing the sport of hockey, you might play on a basketball team or a football team. There's lots of people on the team because they all need to take a turn and work toward winning the game. After school, Clark and Joey Mackerel played Sea Wars at Joey's house. "Wow, is that Dark Waiter?" asked Clark. "Best birthday present ever," said Joey. "Want to play with Fluke Seawalker?" Clark really wanted Dark Waiter, but Joey asked him to wait his turn. Then, when Joey went to get them a snack, Clark couldn't resist. "Must be my turn." It was, after all, the coolest toy ever. "Sea Wars rocks!" cried Clark. "Pow! Bam! Crunch!" Oops. Uh-oh. Now, Clark was supposed to be waiting for his turn with Dark Waiter, and Joey was going to give it to him when it was his turn. But Clark couldn't wait. "Clark!" cried Joey. "You broke it!" "Sorry," said Clark. "I was sharing." Joey shook his head. "That's not sharing. That's taking and breaking." Clark the shark swam home befuddled and bewildered. He didn't understand sharing at all. Oh, poor Clark. He needs some more practice with all the different ways of sharing. And when he arrived, Clark found he wasn't the only one who didn't get it. "Mom!" cried Clark. "My cap! He borrowed it, he bit it, and now it's ruined." "Teething or no teething," Clark's mother said, "that's no way to treat a cap." She told his brother to ask before borrowing, but she told Clark, "You have heaps of caps, and if you have a lot, why not share a lot?" But Clark didn't want to hear it. He swam to his room and sulked up a storm. Now, Clark's mom said that Clark does have a lot of caps, and he could share one with his little brother if he chose to. That is up to Clark, if he wants to give one of these caps to his little brother. That would be probably a very polite and friendly thing to do, is give him a cap. "Sharing is caring," Clark grumbled. "It's not taking and breaking." But this only reminded him of what he'd done at Joey's house. Clark's head hurt, as if a big sharky thought was trying to break free. So sharing is waiting your turn, letting everyone play, the giver chooses when, not taking and breaking, and giving what you've got a lot of? Sharing was confusing. But, thought Clark, it might also be worth getting right. "Mom," he asked, "will you help me bake something?" The next day, Clark gave Joey a home-baked krill cake and a great big sharky apology. "I think I'll share this with the whole class," said Joey. "Really?" said Clark. "Really," said Joey. And when Amanda Eelwiggle saw all that cake being cut up, she said, "You know what goes well with krill cake?" "No, what?" said Clark. "Sea slug ice cream." And just like that, she scooped her treat onto everyone's plates. Clark the shark looked around at all his classmates enjoying cake and ice cream, and he got a warm, wiggly feeling way down deep inside. "What is it, Clark?" asked Mrs. Inky Dink. With a ginormous grin, Clark broke into the funkiest, sharkiest, funky shark dance ever. And this time all his classmates joined him, with a hip and a hop and a skiddly widdly wop. "Sharing is sweet!" cried Clark the Shark. The end. Can you think of a time when you had to share? Maybe you had to give somebody a turn with a toy that you liked. Maybe you wanted a toy that someone else had, but they weren't quite ready to give it to you. What is the right way to share? Think about it. Bye.